We have some important Tesla stock news, and I was hoping we wouldn't have any because I'm traveling right now. I'll be back in my studio tomorrow, by the way, but let's go through all of the news. Elon Musk has just sent a bullish email, I would say, to all Tesla employees. Going forward, it is mandatory in North America to install and activate FSD v12.3.1 and take customers on a short test drive before handing over the car. Almost no one actually realizes how well supervised FSD actually works. I know this will slow down the delivery process, but it is nonetheless a hard requirement. Thanks, Elon. And Gary seems to be a bit more bullish here. This could dramatically increase FSD take rates, especially if coupled with free trials of FSD. As I am recording this, Tesla stock is actually up 1% currently. Now, it could drop later in the day, but it's up despite quite a bit lower delivery estimates from Troy, and the consensus is also coming down. Keep in mind, this is from March 10th. The current analyst consensus is actually lower than 474,000. The latest consensus is 468,000. So the numbers are coming down, but the stock is not. And this is also despite a pretty big Tesla stock price target cut from $270 down to $195, which would still be actually higher than where Tesla stock is trading today. They say, while we remain constructive on the broader EV landscape with the long-term trend to electrification, near-term EV demand and tightening liquidity are creating challenges into 2025. And these analysts now say, do not buy more Tesla stock, just hold it, but don't sell it. You know, it's almost like Tesla is making quite a bit of progress that is not directly related to its EV business in terms of increased deliveries. It's like Tesla is working on full self-driving or something that's going so far pretty well, and some people are realizing that, and maybe they are buying Tesla stock or not selling their Tesla stock despite seeing quite a bit lower projected growth. Also, Tesla Shanghai Megapack factory, there's an update about it. Construction groundwork equipment has now started to move onto the building site, as you can see here. And we already know that the margins for the energy business are better than in the auto business for Tesla specifically. But maybe today Tesla stock is up because the markets are up. But look at this. I don't see any major index that is up, at least none of these three indexes are up. They are all slightly down. Now, Tesla stock could finish the day lower, but what I'm saying is right now it is up, not because the market is up, but because investors are seeing something in Tesla stock, and that could be full self-driving, for example. So despite the production being lower, at least going forward for some time in China, the stock is not going down, but I certainly expect a lot of talk about Tesla's deliveries and its inventory and things like that. For example, Tesla Gear Shanghai inventory is at its highest level at the end of February, ignoring the April 2022 lockdown, with 15 days of supply. Now, 15 days of supply, I don't think it's a high number. That's still a very, very good number when it comes to comparing Tesla to other legacy automakers. They are substantially higher than that typically. So it's a great number still, but the trend is up, which for most analysts, that's not a good thing. AJ, who is a big Tesla bull, expects 417,000 deliveries roughly, so substantially lower than the analyst consensus, but not really much lower than Troy. And there is actually a bit of good news. I checked Model 3 production in Fremont, the refresh Model 3, and it looks like production is going fairly well. I think they are back to at least 50% of their previous capacity, whereas very recently, just a month ago, they weren't making almost any. They were making almost no Model 3s over there, so that's good. And the Cybertruck ramp obviously is going forward. And CATL is working on faster charging batteries for Tesla. We now know officially that CATL is supplying machinery to Tesla's factory in Nevada. And today, by the way, I'm on the road. I went to see one of the best physios that I know in the world, and I had to get on a plane to do that. So I'm recording this from a hotel room at the moment. So that's why there's no video of me today, only screen share. Tomorrow I'll be back to normal. Here's a bit more good news. Tesla's new vision-based auto park feature impresses in first tests. One of my friends actually scratched her car, her Tesla, when she tried the auto park feature maybe 4 years ago. So after hearing that, I have never even attempted to really try the auto park feature, but once I get this one, I will definitely give it a try. And I would tend to agree with Omar here. Analysts are so busy trying to predict Tesla's Q1 auto sales that they are missing the 800-pound gorilla of FSD walking through the room. And I have been seeing so many things like this. Tesla FSD 12.3 is incredible. Even in New York City, over the last 5 days, I have driven nearly 100 miles through Manhattan, so that's a lot of driving. Queens and Brooklyn, the streets are crowded with pedestrians. Obviously, it's New York City. Construction, cyclists, migrants on electric scooters and bikes, delivery drop-offs, beggars, etc. My only inputs were reversing so that the Tesla has room to pull out off-side street parking spot. Okay, so I don't really count that as an intervention. A few accelerator presses that were not needed but may have helped me avoid a few honks. So, okay, not safety related really. It could have been a robotaxi already so far. But there was one disengagement to reroute away from a closed street. So, also not a safety related intervention. So if he is not making stuff up, if he's being completely honest about everything here, during these 100 miles, basically this Tesla vehicle could have operated almost as a robotaxi, pretty much. At least it would not have hurt anyone. Maybe it would have been honked at, but no lives would have been lost. So I think you have to really pay attention to FSD now. Omar says, I didn't really notice any improvements in 12.3.1, but noticed some strange new behaviors. Mostly the same though. More testing may be needed by me to spot any changes. This headline from Electric is, I don't know, I'm not sure I'm a fan of it. Tesla is no longer compute constrained, running out of excuses for self-driving. But the actual article is actually not that negative. I mean, it's not positive, but it's not really that negative in theory. He says, Fred from Electric, it makes sense to me, this approach that Tesla is doing. If Tesla's approach is the right one, now that everything is powered with neural nets, and now that it has the computing power to train the neural nets, we should see a massive increase in the rate of improvement. And therefore, I would add to that in the uptake of FSD when people buy vehicles. Because, I mean, if that guy was telling the truth and he drove 100 miles in Manhattan, in New York City, in one of the most difficult cities to drive in all of the USA, and he had basically no safety related interventions, I think people will find it a very useful feature to start using every single day. Electric continues, but we need to see that happen now, meaning solving FSD, because there are no more excuses after this. In the meantime, check out Fisker. It's not doing great. Fisker stock halted after news of a life-saving deal collapsing triggered a quick 28% drop in share price. Like I said earlier, I don't think it's a buying opportunity when it comes to Fisker stock. The stock is still dropping, and I believe they will go out of business unless someone wants to just purchase them for some incredibly not wise reason. Lucid, though, does not appear to be the next EV maker to fall. Lucid just secured a $1 billion lifeline from the Saudis. And look at all of these different accounts that I usually don't report on, but I have to now because there are so many of them, and so many of them are posting no intervention drives. For example, this one is 16 minutes with 0 interventions and 0 disengagements, and on top of that, it's raining. I mean, clearly things are changing for Tesla. There's something going on. Now, it could turn out that there's some sort of an issue with FSD and maybe progress will slow down, but so far at this moment, things are looking really good with how it is going for FSD. I haven't tried it yet. I'm really looking forward to getting it, but now I see that it's a bit wobbly, so it's not 100% confidence inspiring behavior that we have just witnessed here, but it was perfectly safe. It didn't do anything that it shouldn't. It just was maybe slightly not completely confident there, but looks like here is going completely fine. Anyway, clearly something big is happening right now, and if progress continues at this pace that we have seen in the last few months, yeah, I'll just say that I don't want to be out of Tesla stock during that time. Homer says that he tried throwing pretty much any type of intersection at 12.3.1 on hardware 3, and it handled everything smoothly. Seems more likely than ever that these cars could become driverless. I agree. And Omar expanded further on this point. I think the reason why he's making this point is because the car that he typically drives is not a Model 3 or a Y, which means I think it does not have hardware 3, has hardware 4. But after trying hardware 3, he says, it seems more likely than ever that autopilot hardware 3 will be capable of driverless. My logic is this: I drove it everywhere, all kinds of intersections, and couldn't find a single one that was impossible for it to handle. All issues were software. Can't handle flashing red lights, for example, rather than hardware. It can't see that the lights are flashing just fine. This actually made me laugh. V12.3 makes everyone sound like Omar. Check this out. I take back everything I have said about Tesla's FSD, and I have said a lot. I'm running V12.3, and I can say unequivocally that even though it's still in beta, it's now worth the $6,000 I spent in 2019. Cannot say it's worth double that, but it's biggest improvement ever. Thank you, Tesla. And look at Tesla's data. It's wild. So this one person uploaded 260 gigabytes of data after 1 week of use, V12.3 specifically. This is incredible. This is one advantage that cannot be quickly or easily replicated by anyone out there. I mean, they can try, but good luck putting millions of vehicles on the roads immediately with hardware that was built to solve FSD. It's just not going to happen. And in the meantime, Tesla's fleet is getting bigger. And when people realize how good FSD V12 is, more people are going to buy FSD, and that will increase Tesla's data probably further. But we also know that Tesla, if it wants to, it can collect data from other vehicles as well that are not using FSD. And that way, Tesla can basically, if it knows you are a good driver, it can collect the driving data from you, basically, to teach the cars how to drive. With 1 week left in Q1, there's risk Tesla Q1 volumes come in well below Q1 consensus estimates, which stood at 468,000 this morning. Gary's Q1 estimate is 425,000, which is roughly flat with last year's Q1 of 423,000. Gary thinks that investors will give Tesla a Q1 pass for the shortfall caused by the Model 3 upgrade at Fremont, which we estimate cost 30,000 units for Tesla, says Gary. Tesla's management is unlikely to disclose the Model 3 shortfall on their report, but Gary's more concerned about Q2 and maybe even Q3. Gary is also concerned about Tesla's earnings in 2025, but FSD might help with that a little bit or a lot. And then later after that, we know that Tesla's next generation vehicle is coming out. The next few segments I recorded yesterday with a different mic, and there was a tiny bit of background noise. Anyway, let's continue. Tesla has rejoined Facebook and is officially doing paid advertisements on the platform for the first time ever. Tesla originally removed its Facebook page 6 years ago. Facebook has over 3 billion monthly active users, or approximately 37% of the global population. Here's the ad. It says that the Model Y is the best-selling vehicle and also highlights the fact that you can get a federal tax credit. Troy hopes that it's not too little too late for Q1 with only 1 week left. Model Y inventory in the US is currently at an all-time high. ARK buying Tesla shares for all 3 ETFs again, 116,408 shares for roughly $20 million. Tesla has released 6 new colored Cybertruck wraps in the US. Looks like the colors have some fancy names, and I fancy that it will bring more profit for Tesla. Gregor Truck likes this initiative, but gives a friendly reminder that there are not too many Tesla centers that offer these wraps. Handling many real-world situations like construction requires understanding and reasoning about the scene semantically and not just geometrically. That is why self-driving is an intelligence problem and not a sensor problem. And AJ agrees with this. Self-driving is an intelligence problem and not a sensor problem. This is what all the intelligent LiDAR people don't understand, and people who clutter cars with tons of sensors for which they barely find a good use. James Duma says, or put differently, it's not a hardware problem, it's a software problem. And Elon Musk replies, although hardware does have its limits. And you like what you're about to see here? Someone is actually becoming bullish on Tesla's FSD. FSD V12 went out in January. FSD V12.2 went out in February. FSD V12.3 went out in March. The videos I am seeing on V12.3 show remarkable improvement over the previous versions, and I have never seen so much positive feedback across so many different users at once. So the improvements have depth and breadth. Wow. Let's see what 12.4 has to offer. Never thought I'd U-turn on FSD this quickly, but I gotta tell you, it is going in that direction. The timing is uncanny too. This is happening right as Tesla's vehicle delivery growth is about to go low single digits percentage and possibly negative. And we all know how big of a skeptic James is, and maybe that's why, as I'm recording at least so far, Tesla stock today is not dropping while there's a Tesla stock price target cut, while there is pressure on expectations for Q1 delivery. So anyway, I like where Tesla is right now in terms of its FSD progress. And I'm going to get on a flight here in just a few minutes. And I'll be back tomorrow. This is going to be it for today's episode. Yeah, I'm a bit surprised actually by James doing a bit of a U-turn here. So I'm a bit yeah, I'm a bit speechless here. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this, and I will see you all back on video tomorrow. Like and subscribe if you haven't yet. Thank you so much.